huge energetic exchange. He's like, you remind me of the Maharaj. And I'm like, who? He says, Maharaja used to do, well, I guess you would say lectures, but not really. He'd just go sit down on a blanket, and all the noise was in the crowd of people going, no, and turning around and running out, or people going, oh my God, or, the whole crying or whatever's going on in the crowd. And I took that, I was a kid. Straight to the head with it, right? And I think this kind of correlates because at a certain time I could feel that this is a really precarious position for me to be standing in. I know I'm probably abusing this somehow, but I still feel it, so that's good. And I don't want to give up this egoic power that I'm feeling either. So I'm trying to handle both of them at the same time. I've got excruciating headaches because of it. So when Carlos comes on the scene, he basically describes to me everything I had felt up to that time. All the beauty of it, the mind-blowing, the awakening, the whole thing. I'm a stubborn kid. The ego is not going away anytime soon, right? So he's like, what a beautiful experience. And I was just like, yeah, I'm getting recognition from the man himself, because, whoa, that guy had an energetic presence like I have not seen since. And he's like, but what about this? And I said, what about that? And it's the, slap on the back, and suddenly I am feeling horrible. Totally horrible. I look at him like he's the devil. What'd you do to me? What is this? He's like, look a little deeper, right? And then I feel this energetic wave hit me. And it doesn't take me up. It takes me down. So now it's like I'm swimming in the depths of my own being, and I'm noticing there's this crud layer, right? And so, I energetically feel him peel that back. And it's not a layer, it's like a mile thick. He's like, but what about this? What are you going to do about this? Because I realized, wow, if I kept going any further with the position of people are noticing this in me, but I'm carrying it around like I'm the authority in it, and I couldn't handle that, I would have killed myself in that. So it was the uncovering of the fear, the juvenile behavior, really. All that was buried down under there. And he brought it up to the surface. So for years I just push it back down. Then I'd start to shake. And I would feel that nervous tension of something left undone. Right? And the more I would leave it undone, the more afraid I would be to do it. And then, experiences played themselves out in such a way that it became impossible for me to neglect that anymore. There was no way I could proceed even another day with that stuff inside of me. So I did the only thing I could see to do. I let it hit me. I just stripped away all the defenses I've ever put there, stripped away all of the justifying it, all of the definitions, just took it all out. Basically took the reins from the ego mind and said, here, gave it to the being, that life force. Said, let's do this. And I sat and I shook violently for probably about 2 or 3 days. And it hurt like nothing I've ever known before, nothing I want to know again. And I had to go through that, removing all that debris, preconceived notions, judgments, any kind of angers or hatreds towards anybody, all of it, to such a degree that, there's no one, wrong me or not, I have no animosity towards anyone. It had to go. And it was when that left that I could feel what was really taking place. That the life force, my being was going to wake up here. And it would no longer have a need of that ego. And what ends up happening is you, like what you described, okay? I started spending more time, again, I'm going to paint another picture because we have to talk about this in some way, for a little bit anyway. It comes from the top down. Life force isn't growing. It reaches this world and makes things grow. So it's going, the stream is going top down, not bottom up. You're not achieving godhood, right? You are growing that here, hopefully, from that life force streaming down, right? So when that life force took over, there was this presence still, this residue existing in the mental, physical aspects. So to paint the picture, you have the spiritual, that which is beyond the spiritual, which is life itself. No way to describe that, no way to understand it really. Then it comes through the spiritual realms, which is where our beings reside, right? The ones that are actually harnessing life force. Then it streams down through your emotional fields, which don't exist here, right? They still exist in the ether, if you will. They don't manifest solidly. So they're still very surreal. So they're still up there in the upper reaches of being, unmanifested being. Right? So that life force hits, and so I found myself spending a lot of time there. Trying to, not as ego, but as consciousness, as awareness, to be aware of that and to feel that coming in, right? Very, very discombobulating. What ended up happening is, as that life force was clearing out the debris of that emotional field, the next place it goes to is the mental. That's where the chasm exists. Because the mental shows up here as form. The physical is form. But if you look at any object in here, it was a thought first. So that's what I mean. The mental manifests here. Right? So when you're sitting in those upper regions of your being, the ones where possibility is all there is, infinity is all there is, love is all there is. But then you have to exist here, and you have a history here. You have a history of being a limited, conditioned being. And you have relied, and everyone has, on this ego mind that basically protects me from the world. That's got to go. Life doesn't need any protection, not from you. What does it need you for? It needs you for nothing. You need it. It does not need you to exist. Perfect. How do you know that? It took Martin Luther King out of the game, took Gandhi out of the game. It didn't even need them to exist. Doesn't anything we think we're doing, that we're appeasing life, it's a joke. That's ego. Again, ego wanting to wear the crown. Right? So we have this, what I went through was trying to use life itself, that divine, sacred presence, to crown my ego in jewels. And I never really realized how much I was trying to do that until that life force penetrated through the emotional and came into the mental. Because it sent me sideways. Your thoughts are scattered now. And you watch, like you're saying, you're not fully that ego anymore. But then you show up at the workplace and you get this melancholy feeling because you're watching an old behavior of your own. And you now know what it's doing to you. You now can see what it's doing to them. You can also see what it took you to get through it, and you can see where they're standing with it. And you see that, wow, there's a long haul in front of this. There's a long walk. There's a long chasm between me and that other place. Because wherever the life force is